Alright, so I'm back with an update on the game. In the last video, I think I said that, maybe I'd only come out with one of these every, couple months or so, but turns out I just kind of dove down the rabbit hole and I worked on this quite a bit. I feel like there's maybe not so much progress in the actual game, but for me it felt like a decent amount of progress, at least enough to kind of share. Um, and explain some of the things that I did. Most of it was kind of structuring the code a little bit, but also kind of getting some new functionality worked out. So I did add a bit of a map. So I'll kind of go into a little bit. Let me actually. So I made this or this option screen so that you can change the debug mode, turn off those red lines. So I'll explain the red lines here in a sec, but so each tile that you see here is a 16 by 16 pixel block. So I have that set to the tile size. And right now we're working with a 1280 by 720 screen size. So I just calculated the number of tiles that would need to fill up this screen size. And then I kind of messed around with some mostly random generation around here, but then I messed around with adding in like some zones and stuff like that. So um, I'll kind of get into my thought process there when I kind of show you guys the JSON. So I have these map JSONs being generated. I'll also kind of go into the code of that as well. So I'll get into everything after I show a little bit of the game real quick, just a quick game update. Like I said, most of the update for me felt like just kind of getting a bunch of stuff done in the code, but maybe not so much stuff going, uh, not too much necessarily improvement from the last video in terms of the actual gameplay itself. So yeah, I have that working. The character select screen, I had this last time, but it wasn't functional at all. So now if you select a character, and if you have, let me turn the debug mode on, so you can see character name will swap over to whatever character you select. So if you swap there, it'll swap, and you'll spawn in with the correct character that you switch to. So the user and the player object is being actually utilized now, so that's actually functional, and I can show that in a minute, but it's a pretty simple just user and game object. So the game object has the map information, and the user object has user information obviously in those attributes, and then the game object takes in a user and a player object here. So this is technically the player object, but the user object creates the player object, and then the game object takes in a user object. So that's kind of how I have that working. Still have this NPC spawning up here doing nothing, but he's chilling. So I'll go back home. I'll keep debug mode on. Yeah, that's actually, I'm pretty sure the only changes there in regards to kind of visually what's going on in the game. But I hope to in the future. So as I was saying, I was messing around with these zones. So ideally, I'd have zones or locations, whatever we want to call them, designated to be tiles on the screen here on the grid system that I have working here. And then the player's location could be used. If you're kind of walking over those tiles, maybe something happens. So, like I've stated in the last video, this is kind of going to be a 2D, or of course it's 2D, a 2v2 MOBA style game. So obviously top down here. So like if a tower in the MOBA was taking up these pixels here or these tiles here, these 16 by 16 tiles, then if the player was on that, then the player would take some damage from the tower or something like that. And then thinking about trying to add on more game mechanics like that. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where that's going. I'll jump into the map JSON. So I have a map object that essentially takes in everything from the map JSON, but I'll get into the map object itself in a second here. So the map JSON has the map name. So right now I just have it as this, and that's the default from this. So the generate map.py generates this JSON. Right now I have it pretty static here, but in the future I would like to add some parameters to this little file here and be able to do things with the map and generate them a little bit differently. Have some more functionality there. But yeah, so the size of the map is the 80 tiles by 45 tiles. So those 80 tiles is the calculated width for the 1280 pixel screen width there, divided by 16 for the tile the tile size. Yeah, so I have these different PNG images. So these are 16 by 16 bit PNGs. Where are they? Jeez, where am I going here? Assets. Where am I looking? Okay, sorry, I don't just having a brain fart. Yeah, so um, I have these tiles generated here. So these PNGs, they're just being read in. Well, they're actually being read in here, but their location stored in the JSON. And then this is the big guy here. So this is the full 80 by 45 matrix. So this is an 80 by 45 matrix, and this is every tile on the map for the screen size. So that's how I have that being generated, and each tile here, or each integer here, is a tile ID. So that's how that's working. And the reason I'm doing it this way, it may seem a little bit ridiculous, but the reason I'm doing it this way is to kind of have full control um, over how the map looks. So to me this is slightly easier than editing something in some Photoshop software that I'm not super familiar with. Um, so it's easier to just do it like this for now, at least, because I don't have too much functionality with the map. I imagine down the line I will, probably go with some more stable art, or I don't know. We'll figure something out. But right now I am just gonna do it this way, and then I have these zone locations. I got some help with this code for the I guess this would be matrix. Not really algebra, but this is just matrix stuff here, obviously. So I got some help with this just to get some of those locations pinned down. So yeah, that's kind of how I have the map JSON looking. The generate map file here is what's actually creating the JSON though. So here we have some locations being generated. So just some simple for loops to get those grid locations. Um, and then yeah, just same the map data that's the data that's actually being output there. And then yeah, so it's not super complex here, and it's not very fleshed out or modular yet. It's just kind of living here as almost a static example, but I have a map generations folder that those are getting output to. Yeah, and then the map object here is pulling from, well, it feeds in from, it should feed in from, or no, I guess I initialize it at the top here. Where is it? Where did I put the map? Oh, here it is. Yeah. So map object here is being created. Here's the JSON. Right now I'm just pulling, I think, this one. Yeah, so creating the map object. So that's this right here. Yeah, so we have the JSON name, obviously, tile images, tile size, font, location, stuff like that. So draw map is actually what populates kind of the grid, and it goes through and it gets each of the PNGs and will populate the tiles that way. And then the location name, or actually, draw map. What is this doing? Yeah, that's drawing the tiles. What am I doing down here? Oh yeah, this is what I did. I remember that. Yeah. So I have to. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah. So I initialized the map object by generating the map tiles, which grabs it from. This is what's actually grabbing the PNGs there, and then loading that in. So I need these tile images here that I then use to actually draw the map, and this is what actually gets shown on the screen there. Yeah. So that's what that's doing. Location name is these here, obviously, which at some point I would like to change into, actually meaningful locations, and maybe even start taking a look at how the map will play out. So I could get a middle lane here, and like I said, it's going to be a 2v2 MOBA. So middle lane here, two towers here, base camp back in the corners there, or something like that. So I could get something simple like that going. I will. I realized that in the first video I said something about. I think I mentioned something about trying to avoid as much camera work as possible. So I will still be sticking to that, but I do realize I'm going to need to do some camera work because I can't just have the player be able to see the entire map. So I'll have to zoom in on the character a little bit and get something working there. Um, not to say I don't want to learn that at all, but I just it's not something I'm super interested in. I'm more interested in some of the other aspects of game design. And this project specifically, I'm interested in so many other things. I don't really care too much about camera work, so I'll try and just get the most basic functionality I can for that. Get it fleshed out so it's working well, but I'm not going to go too crazy with that. And it doesn't really require much. It's just a top-down 2D MOBA, so it's not going to be it's not going to be anything crazy with camera work. Just essentially following the character, zooming into what I think is probably best, and then we'll kind of go from there. Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on with the map right now. Yeah, that's being generated. Some other things that I guess implemented since last time. Let's go down into the run game. Um, Not really sure. Yeah, so in show character selection, um, previously the screen was working, but nothing actually happened if you clicked on one of the here I'll just show it. Nothing actually happened. Last video, if you clicked on one of these guys, it didn't actually do anything. It just clicked. And so all I simply had to do was update the user object here. So just updating the user player. This is a global variable inside this function here. So that's how that's working. Pretty simple. Um, what else? I guess I could take a quick look at. Let's go back down to. Let's go back into run game. So yeah, the game object that's being initialized up top. So yeah, like I said earlier, the game object is taking in these two now. So it's taking in a user and a map object. And I already went into detail of the map object. So yeah, I imagine more will kind of go into this game object in the future. Right now, this is kind of all I have. It's functional, and it's definitely being used in the game logic currently. But I imagine at some point this will take in, this class will contain most of the game logic inside of it. So depending on the game type, the game mode, or whatever the case may be, maybe I would have a different game mode object. Not really, haven't thought too much about it, but yeah. So I imagine this will be where most of the game logic lives, if not all of it. And yeah, so I think that's probably gonna do it for this. Actually, I did want to go into. So I did some stuff with. Let me find it on my other screen real quick. Okay, yeah. So I did do some work. I have a lot of slides here. So I know this is kind of strange, but I I did some just checking the time real quick. Okay, yeah, this video is not nearly as long as the last one, but I'll probably end up rambling on here for a while. So yeah, I ended up making a few more background screens. So originally, this is kind of the game screen right now. But I made a few other background screens. Again, this all the art in the game so far is AI generated art. Not trying to take credit for any of this whatsoever. This is just kind of all the art I'm using as placeholders for now until in the future at some point I'll figure out something different for art. Not that this doesn't look great, honestly, but I'll want something of my own. If even if it's not something that I create, something that I go find and pay for or something, I'd like something custom to the game, and not AI generated in the future. But yeah, so that's placeholder for now. But I started working on some UI screens. So a lot of them are repeat, just with the different backgrounds. So this initial one is kind of the home screen. So there'll be a play button, a heroes button to view all the characters to choose from, a profiles button, and potentially a shop in the future. That's definitely way down the line, but I'm just kind of thinking of things to put here as placeholders. You'll have and I'll show these later. These actually get expanded out later, but yeah, you'll have your party uh, button to open up your party window and invite a friend or something, chat window. Simple, just I'm doing the most basic UI right now. Just one of these little things up in the corner. Friends list, profile, shop, and like a help or support button, and then settings here. And then this is that icon that I'm using in the game here. I kind of like that icon. It looks interesting. I'll zoom in to get a good look at it right there, but that's the icon. Yeah, so and my why I was talking about the icon. So I imagine like you'd click the icon and this would shrink, or maybe both of these would shrink and compact. But yeah, so that's kind of the home screen. I thought that just looked clean and easy enough. And then my thought is when you click play, you'll go to this screen. You'll have your play button here. If you're hovering, or if you select one of these modes, then this button will light up and you'll be able to click that. Um, you'll have your um, you'll have your the party window here with who's in your party. So right now it's just me. Option to invite a friend, invite Trevor. Click on him. That option, little scroll wheel. Yeah, chat window there. So kind of the same thing. And then just another view of it. So if me and Trevor were in the same party, I could boot him from the party. And if he's if he's still over here, so I would need something for there, put a profile button there, and I could view his profile or something. So I was just kind of thinking like that. Here's the chat window expanded, and then also when you click on, if theoretically when you hover or click on ranked here, these options would then populate on the screen, and you'd be able to select from 1v1 or 2v2. And then the same thing here, if you hover over that, 1v1, 2v2, practice, tutorial, private match, or something along those lines. So I was kind of thinking about that. Um, yeah, these are, like I said, repeat screens, so just kind of taking a look at how the UI looks with different backgrounds. That's kind of the main reason for multiple different placeholders with different color schemes in the background, trying to get an idea of what the base UI here would kind of look like on top of a background screen. And right now these background screens are at full opacity, but I'm thinking about maybe chopping that down a little bit, or I'm not really sure. Maybe blurring it a little bit or something like that. I'm not totally sure. But yeah, kind of using these as placeholders. I imagine this would be the heroes screen. If you clicked on heroes from the home page, you'd have the different heroes available to you. Um, Scroll wheel once this list gets a little bit longer, a little search button, maybe filter by type or something like that, whatever the case may be. The level that you have the hero at. Um, so I'm thinking of some type of scaling system in the future where, or progression system, not scaling. Yeah, so my headphones just died again because I was talking for too long. Um, yeah, so I was saying, yeah, I imagine some type of progression system in the game where you can level up your heroes and get them different, skins or gear or not gear actually. That's not in line with the MOBA I have in mind, but whatever the case may be. So yeah, just a screen here to kind of view that. I had a fun making this kind of makeshift leaderboard. So like after a match is done, this is kind of the screen you're presented with. I think this looks pretty clean and good. So you have your two-person team over here, two-person team, win loss. This is total number of kills um, for each team. So me and Trevor had 15, Mason and Jordan had 8, and then stats down here, the level that you were at in the game, the XP, total XP throughout the match, damage taken. These are placeholders obviously for now, profile buttons and stuff like that. So I was kind of thinking about that stuff. I started thinking about an elo system, which I probably won't share too much of the math on in the future. I think right now it's very basic, so I don't mind showing it. Um, but in the future, I would definitely want to not share the math, I think, so that people don't take advantage of the elo system in some way. But I would imagine if I build it well enough, then it wouldn't really matter. But the way I was kind of thinking about it is okay, so you have four total players in this game, right? They all have their own set of stats here. So if you win the game, your elo would be the your normalized value for your KD um, plus your normalized damage plus I'm saying plus 1 for winning the game, and then I'm saying plus the log of your total amount of kills that game for your team subtracted by the log of the total number of kills for the other team. So that would just kind of help out if your team had 20 kills and they only had 2, that would be a bigger number for you. And then that would gain you more elo. Yeah, so get your normalized KD, get your normalized damage. If you're doing well, these values will be close to 1. If you're not doing well in the game, these values will be close to 0. And then obviously I imagine that these would also, I would also include things like healing and damage taken or damage mitigated or something like that. So including more of those things. Obviously I wouldn't just deal with KD and damage, so I imagine including more of those in the future. But yeah, and then like I said, plus 1 if you win the game, and then this value. And I think this value ended up being I think this ended up being I should and could just do the math right now, but okay. So as I was saying, yeah, essentially this is just normalized KD, normalized damage, and that's all. That's all I'm caring about for now. Eventually in the future, I would include more things, but yeah, for now this is just what I had going. And then plus 1 for the win, and then plus this value, the natural log of your total kills for your team that game minus the natural log of the enemy kills for that game. And yeah, that should give you a value of, I think this equation down here actually is correct. Yeah, this actually is correct. So, because I had, in this example, I had um, the second best KD, I had a 10.5. Mason had an 8.3, so I had a 10.5. So that puts me there. Plus 1, I had the best KD or I had the most damage, so plus 1 for me there. Plus 1 for me with the win, and then 0.63 for the score of the game. And then that equals 3.63, so a pretty low integer number. Multiply that by 100 because I imagine if we're playing a game and we have some ranking system, people are going to want to see higher numbers, not small integers. People are going to have more fun if the value goes up by 363 instead of 3.63 for their elo. So we're gonna go with that, and maybe I'd even bump that up in the future times the 1,000. That actually would make more sense for what I have over here. So yeah, this is kind of what I was envisioning in my head. So some divisions like this with these elos, something like that. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna cut the video there. I definitely rambled on and on again in some places. Oh, actually, cancel that. Let me just real quick one more time prolong the video. I wanted to make a website for the game. Obviously, this is local right now, so I don't have this anywhere. But and this is a very basic template. But I just wanted to start thinking about a website for the game, um, so that in the future. As I make more videos, as the game starts to scale up and hopefully get better, I can have people kind of track progress. Maybe I can include links to videos here and stuff like that. So that's just kind of a little side project I had. On that note, I moved everything to a new Git repository, so I don't have any of the I don't have the commit history from that I did from last video, but um, last video I had a decent amount of commits, and I was on, I had a bunch more for this video, but I moved the repository over, and I didn't migrate it with all that stuff. So it's just a fresh new repository. Yeah. So anyway, that's the video. I'll kind of go into some more stuff. I'll go into more progress next video, obviously. And hopefully I'll have a bunch more by then. I'm kind of working on different parts of the project as I feel like it. So as I get bored writing code, maybe I'll go do something. Maybe I'll go do something like this, um, and kind of mess around with UI and whatnot. Um, and then maybe if that's bothering me, or if I just kind of get bored with that, then like the other day I was doing stuff with the map JSON and whatnot. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking about doing some like database integration next, and that's kind of the actual work that I'm more familiar with. So I can probably get that done pretty quick. So I probably won't even spend too much time on it. So yeah, I think that's kind of gonna do it for this one. Yeah, I hope I can post another progress update at some point soon. Hopefully, I keep banging out progress like this because the game's coming along nice. I'm getting some of the main structure down. I just need to kind of figure out a few more things, kind of add some more complexity into the gameplay. I'll need to start working on like character animations at some point here soon, because right now the gameplay is very much lacking. There's virtually zero gameplay, which is fine for me now because I really wanted to get some of the core functionality of the very base game down, and not even really the base game, but just the base UI and code and just core foundation of the code. I feel like that can help me long term. So I'll keep kind of cleaning that up and integrating some more, even if they're just smaller features for me to have at my disposal as I'm as I'm making progress. So anyway, I'll stop rambling. Hopefully this was interesting. Yeah, hopefully I will see you next time.